So we have breaking news regarding the situation here in Korea and the impeachment of President Yoon. There has been an arrest made. It was just announced. The defense minister has been arrested, and essentially he turned himself in. It was like 1:30 a.m. They questioned him and decided to go for the arrest. Basically, they're worried that he was going to destroy evidence and also to leave the country. Essentially run away. The guy already resigned, but that's not going to save you from prosecution, being charged, and paying the consequences essentially. And I want to go through details exactly, so let you know what's up. This was the headline: South Korea ex-defense minister arrested over President Yoon's martial law. So if you remember, President Yoon called in the military basically to arrest political opponents, try to take over the election office, these kind of things, basically completely undemocratic and illegal actions. And then now we're figuring out, okay, who else was involved with the illegal order? Who else is part of this, scheme, this military coup? And essentially, again, they arrested the defense minister. It says here the prosecution's special investigation team arrested Kim on Sunday, seized his mobile phone, said in a brief statement to reporters. Before the arrest, investigators questioned Kim, who voluntarily appeared at the Seoul Central District Prosecutor's Office. Right, so he showed up at 1:30 a.m. on Sunday. It also says here 3 minority opposition parties filed a complaint with their prosecution against Yoon. So the opposition party's like, hey, this is why you got to arrest this person. Kim and martial law commander Park On-soo accusing them of insurrection. So that's what they're saying. If convicted, the crime of leading an insurrection is punishable by death or life imprisonment with or without prison labor. So it's actually pretty serious charges. Well, I mean, obviously it's a serious thing, but I'm saying the punishment is punishment by death or life imprisonment with or without prison labor. So we're going to see what happens with that. Right now, Yoon's party is trying to maintain power. That's basically what's going on. It was interesting because the like second in command kind of person, but it's not really a vice president. So it's more like head of the party. He came out and made a statement basically saying Yoon's on his way out. I think they're calling it early departure. He said, there will be no chaos in the process of an early departure, right? Orderly early departure. That's the translation. Also says, until the president's departure, the prime minister and the party will closely consult to seamlessly take care of livelihood issues and state affairs. He acknowledges that this thing is an unconstitutional act. I'm referring to the martial law. It says here, Han denounces Yoon's martial law declaration and subsequent entry of soldiers into the National Assembly as an unconstitutional act. So they're acknowledging the thing was illegal, and said the party takes the public's judgment of the situation seriously. The prime minister also reaffirmed efforts to swiftly stabilize the situation, vowing to put the people first. And then there's a quote here: what is the most important at this moment is not that 1 inch of a vacuum in state affairs should happen, meaning that in his point of view, he's trying to maintain power for his party. They're basically saying, okay, we're going to try to kick this out, guy out slowly, etc. But they're going to try to hold on power as long as they can. Now, normally in this situation, they don't. It's not like the U.S. system where you would just kick out the president and then the vice president take over. It's not really like that. You would actually kick out the president and then do an election for someone else. For those of you in Britain, you probably have experienced this kind of stuff. I remember there's all these like crazy leadership changes going over there. I think it's closer to that system. My understanding is, again, what essentially the head of Yoon's party is trying to do right now is basically illegally maintain power. Right now, what the head of Yoon's party doing right now is, can we just arrest the person for trying to do trying to seize power the way that he is right now? I can't tell you. I'm not an expert in Korean constitutional law, but it all sounds pretty sketchy to me. Yoon could be arrested. The opposition party is calling for that. I'll read some of the details of this stuff. This is, and I don't want to make any jokes or any light of this stuff. This stuff is quite serious. Again, you called the military on your own people and you're trying to take over with a military coup. Says here, main opposition calls for immediate arrest of Yoon, rejects prime minister-led governance. So basically, what are you trying to do with your party? Just let us proceed with this thing, and you're on the wrong side of history, basically. I'll read a little bit. It says here, Suspending is a quote. Suspending Yoon's presidential duty is the only process that accords with the Constitution, and any measures are unconstitutional and nothing but another act of insurrection. Wow, that's a pretty serious. That's coming from the opposition party, because kind of what they're trying to say is like, oh, President Yoon, he's just gonna like sitting in his room all day, but he's still gonna be president. But he's not really gonna do anything. And us, our party, we're just gonna make sure everything's okay because we don't want any power vacuum. Like I don't know what these. I don't know what these people are trying. I mean, I'm telling you what they're trying to do, but I don't know what they're thinking. I think they're crazy, perfectly frank. I mean, you could argue that they just want to stay in power by all means. So it's not. They're not really strongly defending Yoon. They're just trying to figure out a way to stay in power. Also says here, and this is coming from the opposition party. Despite such a consensus between Yoon, the prime minister, and PPP leader Han, such an unconstitutional way of governing is not allowed even for a minute. That's the language, right? What you're trying to do, you other party, the PPP party, if you want to call it that. This is a quote. Unconstitutional way of governing is not allowed even for a minute. Yoon's insurrection is now leading to another rebellion by Han Dong-hoon. That's the, again, leader of the other party, of Yoon's party, and essentially saying, we may go after you as well. My opinion on this stuff is I think it kind of all makes sense in Yoon's party's plan is essentially why they wouldn't vote for the impeachment vote. Because remember, they actually did vote on the wife's investigation vote. They did not vote on the second vote, which was the impeachment. So they basically boycotted, walked out. So there was no quorum. There was not enough people in there to do an official vote. And so they wouldn't have to go on the record for, either voting for or against. I think that's sort of what's going on there. My opinion is that I think the opposition party will probably keep calling for impeachment, which is the right thing to do. And I think they're going to do that every week. With only 13% approval rating, and we all literally saw it live on TV that these people are doing illegal things. It's very, very similar to the January 6th stuff. We all saw it on TV. Someone's got to pay for this stuff. It looks like I said, the defense minister was already arrested. Could they just arrest Yoon right away? But there's certainly a possibility of that. I think one of the things that they're doing, and I keep mentioning this over and over again, which is part of democracy, is following rule of law. Make sure we're not just, grabbing the pitchforks and just going after these people immediately. Like, you just make sure you do everything by the book. I think that's really key, especially with this extremely sensitive type of thing. And unfortunately, this is what's going on here in Korea. The USA made a statement, which is interesting. The headline was, U.S. calls for proper functioning of the democratic processes in South Korea after scrapped impeachment motion. So I think the U.S. is kind of signaling that they would have wanted a second vote. Remember, the Yoon's party, boycott the second vote, the impeachment vote. It says here, this is from the USA. We continue to call for the full and proper functioning of the ROK, or Republic of Korea, but Korea, democratic institutions and processes in accordance with the Constitution. And that's coming from a U.S. official. And essentially, I was just thinking about this to where there's probably pressure from the just regular everyday citizens, Koreans. So I think it's tough for anyone in Yoon's party to, maintain defense of Yoon. However, there's many people who say, well, on his side, they'll say, oh, well, Yoon's just a bad apple, but I still love my party, that kind of thing. There's always people like that, right? The same way with the Trump stuff. Oh, well, maybe Trump's not a good guy, but I still love the Republicans. People talk like that. And so probably, and this is sort of, to the Korean system is different than the American system. Probably what's going to happen, because they do this every time, if you lose an election or something goes bad, you basically rename your party and you try to rebrand it. And then you pick a new leader, etc. But they end up doing the same kind of policies, or roughly the same. So that's probably what's going on with this, in my opinion. Like, after Park Geun-hye's impeachment, and now this Yoon, martial law thing, and should be impeached immediately. I personally just think it's nuts to support that party any way, shape, or form. That's my opinion. I think it's a pretty fair opinion, and only 30% of Koreans support the guy, so it's very, very low support. And I think the longer this drags out, I imagine support will go lower. And this is part of democracy, right? That's what people want. It's a important system that in any of these sorts of situations, that no one is above the law. So, I'm happy that they arrested the defense minister right away. I mean, you could say they could have done faster, but like I was saying, follow the rule of law, make sure you got enough evidence, etc. And we'll see what happens with Yoon. So I'll keep you updated on this stuff. I think it's a developing story, and things seem to be moving fairly quickly. The my wife just said they're just going to make another announcement soon, so I'll let you know if there's anything big. But Yoon's kind of isolated right now, and they're just trying to figure out, okay, Yoon's party's trying to figure out, okay, how can we like not get his, we'll say crap on us, but still keep power, which, good luck with that. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you next video.